What is up, everybody? Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NFL player prop picks for the NFL Sunday betting slate. We're going to have 5 players that we are backing on this beautiful NFL Sunday, 2 of which we are laddering to pretty juicy odds. So it's going to end up being like a little over 6 units risk total. Feels like it's going to be an awesome week for us. Thursday Night Football was okay. We went 1-1. Both were plus money. We made slight profit there. On the entire season, we're up a little bit over 27.5 units, and we're up over 19% ROI as well. So pretty good year that we are having overall. It's been a nice run as well. We had a really rough weeks 11 and 12, have been profitable the 2 weeks following, and I've started off the week, again, very slight profit, but hey, we'll take some profit. Let's hope we have a great Sunday. Reminder to like the video, comment, subscribe. Let's start talking bangers. So play number 1. Actually, we're going to have 2 plays in this game. Bills versus Lions. Give me David Montgomery over 12.5 receiving yards, minus 110 odds at bet 365. I could not believe my eyes when the books dropped this price. Absolutely insane line that I immediately hammered, and you guys should too. Now, normally, I would be scared off of betting a play in which a player has cashed that bet in 6 straight games, which is what we have here in David Montgomery. He's cashed the over 12.5 receiving yards in 6 straight games. I just think the books have this priced wrong, and I don't think that they're really adequately pricing how involved and how well Montgomery has done in the receiving game. He's not known to be the pass catching running back on the Lions, right? That's Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's been very involved in the receiving game recently and on the entire season. As I mentioned, he's cashed this number in 6 straight games. On the season, he's done it in 10 of 13, averaging 23.8 receiving yards per game. So we're getting this 11 yards below his average. And he's got 3 targets in 8 games this year as well, consistently involved in the passing game. 3 targets doesn't sound like a lot, but for a running back who's mostly getting dump offs and screen passes, the catch rate is high. And a lot of times the yards after catch is high as well. I mean, he had a game where he had 1 reception on 1 target and had over 12.5 receiving yards. So I'll not be shocked if that happens. Now, if you're wondering, okay, is the reason why this is priced so low because it's a tough matchup against a good Bills defense? Yes, the Bills defense is good, but you would be sorely mistaken if you think this is a bad matchup, because it's actually quite the literal opposite. This is the best matchup you can possibly think of for running back receiving props. Now, if you want to just double up, take Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, I wouldn't think that's crazy. When I tell you these numbers, you're going to want to take both of them, probably pump up their numbers too. The Bills have allowed the highest target share to the running back position in the entire NFL. The highest percentage of the targets against them have gone to the running back position. Now you're probably thinking, Matt, these numbers are inflated because Devon Achane and the Dolphins have played the Bills twice. And in those games, Devon Achane was targeted a ton. He had 7 and 8 receptions in 2 of those games. I would say you're right. He did have a ton of targets in that game. That all still counts the same. He's still a receiving running back. But if you think those 2 are outliers, that's fine. We're going to take out both of those games and look at the data. Guess what? The Bills still allow the highest target share to the running back position. So I'm taking out 2 games that only help our cause, and the Bills are still number 1. It's crazy what this price is like. It's crazy how much receiving work has gone to the running back position against the Bills, and it's crazy how good David Montgomery has been in the receiving game. Now again, you're probably thinking, why not Gibbs over Montgomery? Look at their receiving stats. Montgomery's actually been much more involved in the receiving game than Jahmyr Gibbs has. They really haven't used Gibbs out of the backfield as a pass catcher that often this year. And if you want to take both, I wouldn't hate you, or I wouldn't hate that. I certainly wouldn't hate you, and I definitely wouldn't hate that. I just think that this line is insane. I'll gladly take advantage of it 100%. I almost made this a 2-unit play, but I wasn't going to do that. That's a little crazy. Next up, same game, Shakir, 60 plus receiving yards, plus 105 odds at ESPN Bet. I love backing Shakir in this game because when you're targeting the Lions defense, you want to target something something about the passing game when you're targeting a Lions defense. And Shakir consistently gets the most targets on the team, right? The most consistent targets. He doesn't have the most targets every single game, but you can rely on his work, Shakir. Between Amari Cooper and Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid and Curtis Samuel, kind of feels like a mystery of who it's going to be from the passing game for the Bills, except for Shakir, because he's going to get his work. He gets the most design targets, the most first read targets, all of the above. The 60 plus number that we're taking, he's done this in 6 of his last 10 games, and he's had at least 7 targets in 7 straight games as well. Now, yes, the Bills have dealt with wide receiver injuries between Cooper, between Coleman, between Kincaid, in and out of lineup 100%. But the work for Shakir has been consistent all year. He leads the Bills in route percentage. Now, that includes, takes out games in which players miss. Like Amari Cooper missing a game, that doesn't have his route percentage go down. It's just like, when you're active, what percentage of the passing routes are you running? Again, Shakir, number 1 on the Bills. He leads the team in both yards per route run and targets per route run. The fact that he's running the most routes and leading in both of those categories is a great sign, because he's running the most routes and he still has the best per route run metrics on the team. Leads the Bills in design targets. That's on like the screen game, the short yardage stuff. Just to keep the offense moving, all that stuff goes to Shakir. And this is a game in which the Bills probably should have to pass a ton. They're going to have to keep up with the Lions offense. And as I mentioned, you can pass on the Lions defense. They're allowing the second most receiving yards against them on the year, on the second most receptions as well. Receptions also a good play for Shakir, but considering we're just asking him to get 60 plus receiving yards, not like 100, the yards I thought was a little bit safer. But if you wanted to go to the receptions, I wouldn't hate that, and I definitely wouldn't hate you either. Next up, third pick, AJ Brown, over 77.5 receiving yards, minus 110 odds at BetMGM. Now, I do feel as though this one has ladder potential. It also has blow-up potential. So instead of calling my shot on the ceiling outcome, I just took his main line over-under, and I'm going to call it a day. I am absolutely buying into the A.J. Brown getting peppered with targets narrative after all the drama surrounding the Eagles this week. So I will admit a lot of this is a squeaky wheel narrative type of play, which I try to avoid. But in the NFL, especially with receivers, sometimes that stuff works. Now, for those of you who missed it and everything that went on with the Eagles, I'm an Eagles fan, so I can tell you what's going on. Last week, the entire game, A.J. Brown was just pissed, running routes like he was angry, slamming his helmet on the bench after plays and stuff. Ended that game with 4 targets. Now, he caught all 4 for 43 yards, but only 4 targets for him is insane. After the game, reporters asked him what was wrong, and he just said passing. That was his answer. Passing is what's wrong. The next night, Brandon Graham, Eagles legend, went on the radio and basically said that something changed in the dynamic of the friendship between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. Something's different. They used to be best friends. Blew up in the city of Philadelphia. Now, both the Eagles head coach and Jalen Brown and Jalen Hurts kind of walked that back. They said it's not as big of a deal and that everybody loves BG, but he kind of misspoke. That's fine. What we have here is the squeakiest of wheels type of situation with A.J. Brown in an Eagles team that desperately needs to get their passing game going. Yeah, they've won 9 straight games. Their passing offense has been gross. And as gross as it feels backing a passing weapon on the Eagles and backing A.J. Brown, you have to take yourself out of the immediate and just look at the entire season. So we're taking out one game in which he left in the first half, only played like 30% of the snaps. We're taking that game out. A.J. Brown has hit this over in 6 of 9 games this year. Very nice. 6 of 9. Averaging 88.9 receiving yards per game. That would be the 4th most receiving yards per game in the NFL. His yards per route run would be the 3rd best in the entire NFL. And he has the 2nd highest first read target rate in the entire NFL. Now, all these numbers are going to be a little bit inflated because of how down the passing game is for the Eagles, and that a lot of it, I should say, goes to A.J. Brown. And yes, he's only hit this number in 1 of his last 4 games. That's also the nature of how the wide receiver position works. He had hit the over in 5 straight games to start the year. For him, he missed a couple games, but the first 5 games that A.J. Brown played, he went over 77.5 receiving yards. Go through every single receiver in the history of the universe. Go through their entire season game log. You're going to see stretches where they have a quiet 3 of 4 games. Look at Jamar Chase, the best receiver in the NFL this year, had a terrible 2-game stretch. First 2 games of the year. Justin Jefferson, same thing. This is how the wide receiver position works. The only reason why it's getting so much talk and run with the Eagles specifically is because of their collapse last year and because of how bad their passing offense on a whole has looked. It's not like they've been passing the ball around. It just hasn't gone to A.J. Brown. They haven't done anything. But A.J. has still mostly been very good, and he's still incredibly involved. You know, the nerd film watchers of the Eagles offense last week, they tried to get A.J. involved. It just didn't work. I think it's going to work this week. The Steelers are a very good defense. They're an okay passing defense. They're really going to try to limit the Eagles from running the ball. I think they're going to do everything they can from letting Saquon Barkley beat them. And they will leave their corners one-on-one on the outside. And if you're doing that, I think that the Eagles are going to try to get the ball to A.J. Brown early and often. The Steelers, are 18th in terms of receiving yards allowed, specifically to wide receivers. So again, nothing to be scared of there. And I just think that, again, A.J. Brown's going to get peppered with targets. Let's hope it happens. That's play number 3. Next up, our 4th pick, and this is our first ladder play of the slate. Jameis Winston passing attempts ladder. We're taking him over 34.5 passing attempts, -115 odds at Bet365. And we're going 40 plus for a half unit at +265 odds, also at Bet365. This is just an insane price on Jameis Winston. He's made 6 starts this year for the Browns. He's hit 40 plus passing attempts in 5 of those 6 starts. So I'm not even talking about the mainline play we're taking. I'm talking about the ladder play. He has done that in 5 of 6 starts this year for the Browns. The one game he went under, and that was the mainline play as well. So he did not hit any of these in this game. That was a snow game on Thursday Night Football. Those of you who remember that, it was a very visually exciting game to watch. Just passing was a little bit down in that game because of the weather. Now, weather's supposed to be bad this week as well. Not supposed to be as bad as that game. We're not getting snow. We're getting a little bit of rain, and nothing can stop Jameis Winston from throwing the ball. The other 5 starts, 40 plus in all 5, averaging 46.4 passing attempts in those 5 games. Here are his attempts: 41, 46, 46, 58, and 41. So if you even wanted to go even spicier, go 45 plus. He's done that in 3 of those 5 starts. Now, part of the reason why he's passing so much is because their running game stinks. One of the worst running offenses in the NFL. So they're consistently needing to pass. They average the 3rd fewest rushing yards per game, 2nd lowest yards per carry, have the 3rd worst rush grade in the NFL according to Fantasy Points. I doubt they're going to be able to run the ball successfully, especially when you consider the matchup against the Chiefs, who are a very tough team to run on. The Chiefs have allowed the second lowest yards per carry, 3rd lowest rushing yards per game. That's on the entire season since week 8. Still very good. Since week 8, 3rd lowest rushing yards per game, 2nd lowest rushing yards per carry. In that same time frame, they're allowing the 5th fewest yards after contact per attempt and the 2nd lowest adjusted yards before contact per attempt. Being top 5 in yards after and before contact is really a testament to how good their run defense is. And even though their offense hasn't looked the same, teams pass the ball on the Chiefs. You have to score points if you want to beat the Chiefs. I think that the Browns are going to be passing the ball a ton in this game. I think he's going to hit the ladder for us. That's play number 4 and technically 5 if you're doing the ladder with me. And then our last pick of the evening, Bucks Chargers. Lad McConkey receiving yards ladder, 80 plus for a full unit at +125, 100 plus for a half unit at +270. Both of those are at Bet365. Now, Lad McConkey missed last week, but he's been practicing this week, so the expectation is that he's going to play and then he's going to be good to go. Not really concerned there. If anything, he needed the day off or the game off because he had just been getting hit hard, shoulder injury, knee injury. He needed the time off. He missed it. I think he should be good. Prior to missing last week, he had been on fire. And this is an awesome matchup against the Bucs defense that you can definitely pass on. And again, probably a good thing that he missed last week. Prior to that, the last 3 games he's actually played football, he has cashed at least 80 receiving yards in all 3 games and gotten to 100 receiving yards in 2 of those 3 games. In these 3 games, 6, 9, and 12 targets on 6, 6, and 9 receptions off of those targets. His workload really started to increase, and he looked really good doing so. So I don't really see why they wouldn't go back to him. And they have a great matchup against the Bucs team that you can pass on 100%. On the year, the Bucs have allowed the 4th most passing yards per game. Since week 4, the most passing yards per game. They dealt with injuries to the secondary, but they're just in general not a good passing defense. It was the same thing last year. 21st ranked passing defense according to DVOA, which is honestly better than I would have thought, still below average. And to get even deeper and more nerdy into the matchup, they play zone at the highest rate in the NFL. They're the only team that plays zone coverage over 80% of the time. Lad has incredible stats against zone. On the Chargers, he's run the most routes or against zone coverage on the team. He's got the highest separation score and the 2nd highest win rate. So he's winning his routes and he's separating. And he's got both the 2nd highest, both his yards per route run and his targets per route run. Only player above him is Will Dissly, who, guess what? Will Dissly is out for this game. It's a great matchup for a lot of reasons for Lad. He's been playing really well. And as I mentioned, Dissly's out for this game. Should just increase the target volume for Lad McConkey, who's already been playing well. I absolutely love this play. Feels like we're going to win every bet on Sunday. Let's hope we do. That would be amazing. Remember to like the video. Remember to comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're interested in getting all my plays sent to you for $5 a month, check out my Dub Club. Again, it's only $5 a month, and I'm not going to say like check out my VIP, because the same plays you see me give out for free on this YouTube channel or on Twitter, if you follow me there, those are the same plays I send out on Dub Club. I just send them out early so you can get the same odds that I lock them in at. So if the odds change when you're watching this, I can't really help that. Also, not everybody has time or cares to watch the YouTube videos. That's where I get that's where the Dub Club comes into play. So if you're interested, link in the description as well as a pinned comment. If you're not interested, no problem. You can still get everything for free on YouTube and Twitter, but that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.